Hello everyone, this is Maria from mariascraftingcorner.com. Welcome and thank you so much for being here with me today. We are going to be working on our second project for October's Paper Pumpkin Kit Alternatives. I am always super excited of creating a new alternative for you to just incite your creativity and figure out what else to do with our paper pumpkin kits. I have to say, since I became a demonstrator, to be fully honest, the kits have been amazing. So even sometimes it's harder to create some extra alternatives because the cards they designed are so cute on their own. But that's what we're here for, to just figure out what else to do and have some fun. And if you don't know what Paper Pumpkin Kit is, it is a Stampin'Up monthly subscription that costs $23.50, and you will get in that little box. And I always bring my box. Let me put it all together because it's a little bit messy. It always is, huh? In a very beautiful box. Oh my god, I love this box. You will get everything you need to create the projects that they have designed for that month. And when I say everything, I really mean everything. They include if it's card base, if it's cards, the card bases, the cutouts, layers if you need them, decorations, twine, maybe some gems. It kind of depends, but it will also include some type of adhesive. Most of the time includes some blue glue dots and some extra. So usually it's the glue dots with dimensionals or some tear and tape or so forth, right? So you really do not have to include anything else to create those projects they designed. And I love it because it makes it so simple for the person that's just beginning to create something really, really beautiful, and at the same time to start increasing sorry about that, to start increasing your stamp set collection, because it brings a unique and exclusive stamp set, and your ink color collection, because it always brings a stamping spot. And I'm always off camera, and so here it is. This is the stamping spot. I want to say it's like 1.5 by 1.5 little ink pad, and I love these. They're very, very useful. And so you will start getting some different colors, because each paper pumpkin kit brings one of them with different colors. I have to say, it is again a really good option if you're just starting, because it's super easy. I'll show you here in a minute. It brings instructions, and it brings not suggestion, but yes, it brings some alternatives. Anyways, I'll show you here in a minute. I'm going ahead of myself. I want to show you real quick. Let me see. I want to show you this one. This is the November Paper Pumpkin Kit. These are tags that match the October Paper Pumpkin Kit cards. So you have until November 10th to order it. Don't hesitate. Go down below and subscribe to a Paper Pumpkin Kit. I think it's absolutely worth it. But if you subscribe to it and then I'm going to say December's kit does not please you, you can always put it on hold or cancel it, right? It's not something that you have to stay there forever. So think about it. Okay. So now that we've seen that, let's go ahead and go to the crafting table. Here we are. I want to show you here the these are the instructions. This would be the cards that you would get if you did them just as they are designed for the Paper Pumpkin Kit. Here are the instructions. they are really, really self-explanatory. And then, like I was telling you, it sometimes even brings some alternatives in here for just suggestions of what else you can do. It also brings exactly, or yeah, a picture of what the kit brings. I already did a video for the unboxing of the paper pumpkin kit. I'm gonna link it up here for you guys so you can check it out. The card I made in that video was super cute too. So go ahead, check that link, and really don't hesitate to subscribe to our paper pumpkin kit. Let me move this out of the way. So we're gonna be doing today a peekaboo card. I'm going ahead of myself again. If you've been here before, you know that I try very, very hard to include only what's in the kit. The only extra things I usually bring are tools. My paper trimmer, my scissors, my take your pick, my silicone craft sheet. I may use glue instead of whatever other adhesive it's in the kit, but I am assuming most likely if you're a crafter that you have some glue around. I will bring my own stamping blocks and I'm going to put them in here. So the kit brings this block in your first kit. So the first kit you receive, you will receive this block. I am going to use most likely our stamping blocks just because it's simpler. I have been using in this kit the Stampin'Up just because I really am not good at layering. So if you are good at layering, you really don't need the Stampin'Up, right? I just suck at it, so I don't want to ruin a lot of my Santas because you have to layer them. We will use the Stampin'Up today, and I bring my stamping pad, which as you guys can tell is really messy because I was doing a lot of blending because I used that to create some quote-unquote cardstock, and so for that I use one of our blending brushes, but you can leave it white. You know guys, I have to say I am not a fan of white card bases for some reason, so it is what it is. If you have Bermuda Bay, that probably would look gorgeous with this card that I'm going to be making, or even Pool Party would look great. You could do red too. I mean, it's got any possibilities. I just stick to the basics. And that said, I will bring to the table I will bring to the video usually either white cardstock or black cardstock. There's been times when I used both of them, but in this case I'm just going to be using white. Let's get started. We are going to need for this card 3 bigger cardstock pieces, and I'm bringing them here to you. I think that the sticky notes didn't get to adjust very well because this is kind of wet from the blending. So this is a piece of white cardstock that I blended some of our early expresso, which is the color that the kit brings. This is the area we're going to call the front, and is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. Don't forget that I will include all those measurements down below, so you don't have to write it down right now, but I do want you to be aware that these are the measurements, and I think I have them also for myself. Then we have what we'll call the middle, which is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and this is scored at 4 1/4. And finally, this is what we're going to call the back, and it's 4 1/4 by 5 3/4, just score at 4 1/2. And I blended both sides. If you like white better, you can save yourself totally this step. So we're going to start with the front. We're going to score these at, you bring this up, we're going to score it at 5 1/2. So we are going to go ahead and align at 5 1/2, and we're going to score. Okay, and we're going to score the rest of them as well. This is the the one that we'll call the middle, and you will score it at 4 1/4. 4 1/4 is right there. Okay, so I'm just giving a good push in there, and finally we'll bring what we'll call the back, and it has a B here because I was kind of scared that I was not going to see it, but this is going to be scored at 5 1/2. So we'll align at 5 1/2. There it is, and we're going to score. This doesn't matter because this is going to be covered. That's just want to let you guys know. Okay, so we have those. So the whole idea of the peekaboo card, of course, is that we are going to have like a little window that we can see through, right? We are not allowed to use dies, so I'm not using dies, but I created a little square template that is 2 by 2. You can make it bigger, you can make it a little smaller, but this is what's going to kind of help us and guide us on what we need to do. Okay, let's go ahead and fold our friends. We're going to fold one, we're going to fold the middle and the back that has just a tiny bit of it. Okay, so these B's, this is how it goes. This is the front and it goes like this. This is the back and it will go like this, and this is the card itself that is going to go aligning here and glued in there, and then this is going to go in the middle in here, and that's going to be glued. So this is sort of how the card is going to go, and then it will move. Okay, of course it's not moving now because nothing is attached, but that's sort of how the mechanism is going to go. Now, in order to create the quote-unquote window, we need to create that window in this panel, in this panel, and in this panel. Okay, so we'll have to do this at least 3 times. I am going to decorate this and try to cut only once. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring one of the card bases that we have, and I keep debating if I just, no, let's use the card base just in case. Okay, we have our card base. I'm going to use the pool party side, and this is a regular A2 card, so I'm just going to cut 1/8 of it and move these to 4 1/8 and cut. Okay, so we're just creating a layer for this side, and I really love, let me see if I can move a tiny bit. I really love the contrast between the darker early espresso and the pool party. Our next piece, let me bring it up here, is going to be one of our envelopes, and in order to do that, we're going to cut a smidge on each side just to take off, just to open the envelope up. Right, I'm just making sure it's almost like a 16. Okay, and I really want to use this part of the card, so I am not going to obviously use the area that has the glue to it or the adhesive, so I am removing that piece, and I'm going to cut these. Let me see, this is going to be at 5, so I'm going to cut it all the way so I know exactly what I need to cut. But as you can tell, this has a slanted area, and so I'm just moving these in a way that I know that I'm going to be able to get a straight line from there, and we're going to do the exact same thing in here, and I think it's easier to see it here. So again, I'm going very slowly, aligning these in a way that I know that the edge in here, it's aligned with the cut, and I can cut and I missed like a 17th, and that makes me very sad. So I'm going to move all the way to the 16th inch, and if you don't know where that one is, this is where this brown line is at, and I'm going to cut that. Okay, so now we have what we're going to put in here, and yes, it's going to look like this, and I'm okay with that being there. So now we're going to cut at 4 and at 4. Good. Let's see. I think this is going to work perfectly. Okay. Okay, so it's got just a tiny bit of a layer in that pool party, and I absolutely love it. I would love actually if we could use like some Bermuda Bay, but I am not bringing it because that will look really great against this early espresso. But this is what we got, so this is what we're going to work with, and I am actually going to adhere all these first. Let's see, here is my Stampin' Seal Plus. Let me move, and we are going to adhere these layers. If you've been here before, you know I absolutely love my Stampin' Seal Plus. I think it's a wonderful addition to our collection of adhesives. Sorry, I got distracted. And now we're going to adhere this. Okay, and I always open it up because it's much easier for me to calculate where the eighth is. And if you've been here before, I've mentioned this. At this point in time, it's just gotten really easy for my eye to calculate the eighth. But I love that combination, don't you? And now what we're going to do is, and this is why I want this before, is I want to calculate where I need these square, and I am going to put it there. I'm going to bring it up here a tiny bit just to make sure it's aligned, and I'm just going to make a tiny, oops, that did not work well. I'm just going to go around my little square template and cut it. This is of course much easier if you are using dies, but we don't, and so we are going to do this. And now what we're going to do, let me move a tiny bit here so you can see better, is we're going to align that little line that we just drew with our cutting piece in here. And yes, that means we are going to have to do this to pass several times because we have 3 pieces of cards. Well, it's paper and cardstock, but I'm going to make a tiny line just to make sure I'm in the right place, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but I am. And so I'm going to cut all the way, and it seems like it's cutting very well, and all the way here. And I'm doing very slowly because I just don't want to go a whole lot over. If it's needed, I will use my snips, and we're going to do this again all over. I decided to speed up this part because you actually don't need to see me cutting all 4 cuts to create the square, and it just makes it a little faster as well. As always, remember to be mindful when you're cutting these squares and these lines so you don't go further than you need to. Like I've always said, you can always cut with your scissors, but you can't mend it once you've cut too far. And all again I'm making is this would be much easier if you had dies. Actually, it's funny because most of the peekaboo cards I've seen have circles and not squares. So, you know, we work with what we got, right? Okay, I'm seeing here that it didn't cut very well on that end. So we are going to have to do some more cutting with our scissors, but that is fine, right? I don't know if you can tell, but this is separating here because where I put my Stampin' Seal Plus kind of move on. So we're going to use a little bit of glue in here to glue this well. This is going to have a little bit of time to really glue well, which is nice. So we're going to glue that one, and I think both of them are presenting that problem. See? Guess I need to put the Stampin' Seal Plus more towards the edge, and I didn't think of that. Okay, so it's going to take a couple minutes to glue well, and I'm glad that we're able to give it some time. We're going to bring the middle piece and we're going to really align this well with our first panel, so with the front panel. I'm looking in the back because that's where you see much better. And I want to bring my pen, and yes, you figured it out. We're going to go ahead and draw our square there. Okay, we're going to give this some couple more minutes to dry. So we are now going to do the same thing with it before. Let me move my trimmer a little bit here as well. And I know it's hard for you to see because this is a darker color, but I am just aligning, just like we did before, the pencil line with my trimmer and cutting. And just like we did before, I am cutting very slowly towards the edges of that square. And we're going to do this again 2-3 more times. I'm aligning there as best as we can. I'm doing a tiny cut so I can see if it's really on top, and it is. And we are going to cut this one and one again. I know it gets a little repetitive, but it does not have dies, and it is what it is. I can barely see here where my other piece is at. It's really hard. Okay, and I'm aligning again. Can you see? Let me move this a tiny bit. Align that pencil line with my trimmer. And I have to say I can barely see it. I'm going to do the same as I have done before. Just make sure it's in the right spot and cutting again. We're going to bring a piece of white cardstock, and it says 4 1/8 by 4 1/8, and we're going to adhere it in here. I should have measured that to adhere really well to to the sides, but if not, we'll do what we did before. We'll just put some glue on it. Not a big deal. And like I mentioned before, at this point in time, it's a little bit easier for me to really see the 1/8. So there we go. And we're going to bring this back in here just as is, and we're going to, oops, that's not my pencil, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to trace our square, and we're going to cut it just like we did before. Okay, that looks much better. I obviously looks I missed a couple, so I'm just using my eraser from my little pencil. That it's really good eraser. I really like this pencil to cut in there. Okay, so this is done. Hopefully it all matches fairly okay. This is going to go in here. We're aligning this, and it's not perfect because again we're not using dies, and so, but it is good enough. See? Okay, so we are going to decorate this. Let's move this in here. Actually, let's decorate this one. And all I wanted to do in here really was I want to put the word joy in here. Let me bring this as is. I love this. And then you'll have some space here to write. I'm going to use some of our glue. I really love the color combination or the contrast between that red and the brown, the dark brown. I love it. Okay, and I'm going to bring a piece from leftover from the envelopes we used last week. I'm going to cut it right there because that kind of makes sense. Oops, one more. And this is going to be just a decoration in here. And I'm not sure how I want it to be. I want to be able to write something. I guess we'll have to think about it. I decided not to use it. Maybe later on I'll change my mind. We'll see. But what I really wanted is an area for us to be able to write our message and maybe stamp something here in a little bit. At this point in time, we're going to leave it as is. This comes in here. So maybe you start seeing how it works. So this is how this is going to work. Okay, this goes in here like so. Okay, so now we're going to decorate these pieces. I have for this one, where did it go? So I have a piece of white cardstock that is 5 1/4 by 5 1/8 by 4 1/8, and this is going to go in here. And on top of this one, we are going to bring our little piece. This comes in the kit. We're going to adhere it there, and we're going to stamp here Santa. So let's bring our beautiful Santa. And I absolutely love these Santa. And I'm just bringing one of my bigger stamp blocks, and we are going to, I'm trying it here because I have had the experience in the past that sometimes, especially with these stamps, it seems to me that they do have like a chemical on top of them, and so I always stamp off in here just to make sure it's all working okay. And so if you can tell, okay, I need something. So I just need to make sure where this is going to go. So I know for sure that he is going to be there. And now I have an idea. I'm going to put a little dot in there so I know that the sleigh piece has to go there. Okay. I'm making sure it's well inked, and I am going to go ahead and do it there. Oh, how cute is that? So this piece is going to pop up in here like this. Isn't that adorable? Okay, let's move this out of the way, and let's start putting this. I am going to first adhere this piece to our panel there. Oops, and that did not work as expected. Don't do that at home, kids. Two things. You will really not be able to see this side, so I'm aligning these a whole lot more with this side actually, and so I'm being very mindful of these two edges. And there it goes, and this one is going to go in here, and I just want to make sure that when this goes in, so let's put this in here. And as I am doing that, I realize that the Santa sleigh piece needs to go in the middle piece, not in the back piece. And so I am making all these arrangements and measurements and trying to figure out if it's going to go well, and it's not there where it goes. So you guys remember that envelope we chopped the other day? We are going to use a little bit more of it. we are going to create. So I'll tell you what, I decided to put, this is good, oops, this is too big. So let's see, it's 4, I would say 4 and I'm gonna use 4. So this is measuring 4 by 3, okay? And we are going to put this one in here just for a pop-up of color. And just like we did before, I am really taking into account this edge, not this edge. Nobody's going to see this, right? Okay, let's go ahead and adhere this. And it's always easier for me when it's horizontal for some reason, so just in case. So we have our piece ready, and this is the back piece. Just making sure it all fits as it should, which it does. We are going to need a piece of white cardstock that measures 1.5 by 1.5. Let's do this 1.5 by 1.5. Let's see if it works. Guys, you know that when we are doing the paper pumpkin kit, I always create on the go. You guys know that, we've talked about it. So if I put this in here like so, and this is what we're going to do. I'm going to stamp in here first, and I really want to use the ho ho ho. So we're going to stamp here. The ho 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 almost fits, but it does not fit perfectly, but I'm okay with that. It's okay. So we're going to bring it here and calculate. So what I'm trying to do is leave most of the 6 letters, even if I can't see like the end of an O or part of the H. But I'm okay with that. I think it looks okay anyways. I am going to bring though the kit also brings some stars. Let me get, here's the little one, and I'm going to make some black stars. Well, they're not black, they're brown, but it looks pretty dark to me. I'm going to make a couple here and a few here. Okay, and there we go. That did not have to happen. I'm going to use a white gel pen to go over it and to eliminate that. And it didn't. I don't know if you can tell. It didn't. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to use the other side. So back to our ho ho ho. So we're going to put our ho 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 here. Again. I'm making the most out of the space I got, right? So I am going to stamp it perpendicular like so, because it makes it a little bigger. And I don't mind if parts of my O or parts of my H are not in, because it's a very used word in Christmas. It's not like, oh, people are not going to know what that means. And we're going to use some of these stars in here. Let me see one thing. I see something. Maybe I'm just creating. There's one. And I'm just going to put maybe just these 2 bigger ones like there. Okay, perfect. So we're going to move that away. And very different from what I usually do, I am going to adhere these first because this moves. So I can really see where I need to stamp this friend here and where I need to center that instead of doing it later. And we're going to bring I'm moving everything as I can. Just wondering if this is going to be just exact 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I think we did well. Let's remove this. And I don't know if you can see, it has a tiny bit there left, and so I am just going to fold it backwards. So now we need to glue this piece to this little flap. I think the easiest way to do it is aligning them as such and then moving these here. Okay, and so now these goes like so. And this is why I was telling you guys it's so much easier to do this way, because we can actually center it well. And I am using glue to center it because yes, it's much easier that way. And there we go. And now it comes the last piece, which is this one will go here. Okay, so we have this piece ready. We need to figure out where we're going to glue this piece in our other part of the car, or part of the mechanism. But before that, it just hit me, and let me show you, that when these moves, so this piece goes in here, and this goes together. When this moves like so, it's going to get stuck on that piece of paper. I didn't think of that when I was designing these. We are going to need something that I don't usually include anything extra, but I am going to bring a piece of acetate. And this is just, and I'll show you that I'm not lying, this is just the acetate from one of my stamp sets. So I am sure hoping you have something, some acetate from your stamps, an old piece. I always save mine because I know they can be super useful, and I am just going to glue this in here. And this will create the smooth area for this mechanism to slide without an issue. Okay, so let's go ahead and adhere this. I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm bringing my craft sheet so I can adhere towards the end but not showing. And let's see, the really important piece is for these to go. So I don't really know how big this piece of acetate is. I really just grabbed whatever I had there in my stash that I thought would fit. If I have to guesstimate, this is about 5 inches by 4¼ or 4. The whole point is the acetate needs to be big enough that when you put this in the place it would go, the acetate is far over there. The whole goal is to make this a smooth area so this flap will move forward without issues. Okay, and now the next piece, well, let's try this. Let's see if it really works. Let's bring this here. So these two go attach. We'll attach them in a minute and see how it really goes smooth now. Now the next piece we're going to do now is we're going to keep these as is-ish. Okay, there. And I'm going to bring the piece we're going to put in here underneath, just like so. I'm going to move these a tiny bit more so I know exactly where it needs to go, and that's where I want it. And now we're going to adhere this piece in here, and you've seen me do this before. I'm just putting this straight, and I'm just going to use glue so I don't lose that area, that or that positioning. So the glue helps a lot with that, because you just move it a tiny bit and put it there. And we are going to get this to be glued and glued. And goodness in heavens, I'm losing it. Okay, this goes in there, this goes in here, and this is how we'll do. I actually like that acetate there. It looks super cute. Now we are going to put glue all over here as well, because this needs to be really well attached to the front of the card. Okay, as you can tell, I'm not being skimpy with the glue. And I'm aligning these, and partially that's why we're using glue. So it's super easy that way. We know that glue makes it, because it's so flexible, it makes it so much easier. Okay, guys, we are getting there. I'm just going to get, so when we open this, it's going to go like this. And that looks super cute. Let's decorate the front in the meantime. I have all sorts of pieces here. You guys know me. We still have to do our Santa, and let me bring my Stamparatus. Guys, I have to say I am not good layering. It's a discovery, but I really do suck. I'm just using some of that washi tape to put it in the back of my Santa, and I am going to bring my Santa up, and we are going to align as best as we can. And we're going to, let me move this and get a little bit better in your camera view. I'm going to remove these because it's an awful glare. And there we go. And I'm going to move these and hold these a tiny bit, because sometimes it just does not work well. I'm going to bring my pad, ink, our Santa, and now we're going to go ahead. You know what? I think sometimes I don't do a very good job at inking when I am doing it in here for some reason. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And that's one of the reasons why doing this is so good with the Stamparatus, right? Because if you have a little bit of an issue when you're stamping, you can re-stamp. It's really the only time I would advise, tell people to re-stamp. That is perfect. I absolutely love this Santa. The best way to clean your stamps in the Stamparatus is to bring a little piece of chamois and just clean them. And I always have my chamois cut up. I know that's a little weird, but I have them cut up. It's just easier. So let's bring our Santa back out. And all of a sudden, everything is moving. And let's create the front of this card. So this is sort of what I envisioned. Let me see. I have here all the pieces. We're going to use, kind of create a little similar to what we did last time. We're going to create some funding here with this. We'll put this one on top, maybe like so. We're going to stamp here the Christmas, and we'll bring the Mary, the big Mary. That's going to go there. So I'm going to move everything a little bit like that towards here. Right, so this is here, and we'll put our Santa in there. And I do have some of those really cute snowflakes, and I want to bring them in. Maybe just a big one, we'll see, but something like that. And I think that looks gorgeous. Okay, let's start building these up. So let's start by stamping here our Christmas. And since I already have my Stamparatus kind of around, I'm going to use it really, because it's super easy to put things straight. And if you have been here before, you know I do not do very well with the straight piece. So I'm aligning this friend using that grid paper. It's very, very useful. I'm using one of the magnets, and here's the other magnet to bury to the edges, making sure my Christmas fits, and it does. And now I'm just going to bring, this is not all the way. Let me move all this mess a tiny bit, and I'm going to move this up here, and let's get this stamp. And you see that it moved, so we know that this needs a little bit more help in there, a little bit more traction. Okay, I think that will do. It did not move straightwise, but it did move a tiny bit, and we're going to go ahead and use this Christmas. You know what I've been thinking? And I know I mentioned this last time, it is so much, I think using the stamping spot is super easy when you are using the Stamparatus. Let's try that. Let's see if what I am saying is true. I have a feeling because it's so small, it's easier to like handle over and really see where you're stamping. There it goes. I absolutely love it. And I think I'm going to put a little bit more. There you go. That is perfect. And like I said, the easiest way to clean it is bring your chamois or a little piece of your chamois and clean your stamp. And then we'll move this out of the way. I'm just going to close this for a second because I'm fearful it's going to be disastrous. Where is my Christmas? Here's my Christmas. Isn't this so cute? I love it. Anyways, let's start with our base. Our base is going to go in here. And I'm going to use glue for this. It's just going to be a little bit easier. And I'm going to put it up there. And we're going to put this one in here. A little bit off in there. And we're going to bring some dimensionals. The kit brings dimensionals, so I am not doing something that you won't have. I think the only extra thing I brought was that acetate, but like I said, I was using the ones from our from my stamps. Whoops. Okay. That looks good there. Okay, now we'll bring the Mary. Mary's gonna go there. I want it like so. And we're going to use glue. I love that this Mary has a combination of red, the cherry cobbler red, and the sweet sorbet red. And now we'll bring our Santa and we're going to pop him up, and I am actually going to bring some of the bigger dimensionals I have. You guys know that I don't waste anything in this, so I'm just going to put it on top like so. And we're going to bring one of those beautiful, I'm just trying to decide which one. I have both of them out here. I think that's how it's going to go. I'm going to remove this a tiny bit, and this is going to go in there. So let's bring the glue. Tiny bits all over, that's all I'm doing. And this is going to go inside a tiny bit, like that. Okay. And I'm going to bring this one in here. just because I don't know if if you can tell, there is a corner that it was a little bit rough, and so I'm just going to bring this one here, and I think it looks really cool with against the actual acetate, so that's fun. Okay, and so here's the card. Oh my god, isn't that so cute? Super simple, but really cute. So you guys remember that I was thinking of using a piece of this very colorful paper, and I'm gonna cut about 1/2 inch of it. And we're gonna create kind of a strip in this area. We'll see if it works. I am just going to cut in here, and of course what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn back and make a little line, a little where I have to cut, and we'll just adhere that real quick. Okay, and now where's the other piece? Just threw it away. We're going to put this one in here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and mark it tiny bit and then cut it, and we're going to glue this. And I'm just eyeballing these as best as I can, really. That gives it just a nice touch, small touch. The kit brings some little gems, very cute. Let me show them to you. Aren't these awesome? And I just want to put a few. I'm using the wrong tool here. I just want to put one in here, and one of these tiny ones in here. And where would we want that one? There. Okay, so let me remove all the mess so you can actually see this and not just a mess. Here is our card. Isn't this super cute? I sure hope you like this card. Let me come back up here. There we go. So I really hope you like this card. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It's always such a joy to try to figure out what we want to do to create some alternatives for these beautiful paper pumpkin kits. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the general content of the channel, please subscribe to it. If you think it's worth it, please share. I'm really trying to get to that 1,000 subscribers. It was growing pretty quickly, the channel, and then all of a sudden it kind of slowed down. So I need your help, peeps. Share it and tell your family and friends if you think it's worth it. I would have really appreciate it. I hope, guys, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.